All right, guys, welcome to Real Truth. I am still Howard Real, just like I was yesterday. And the news continuing to give me gray hair. And if you're watching me on video, you know I got one or two. But listen to this from MSNBC, Dateline, where else? Washington, D.C. When a long-awaited Inspector General report about the FBI's Russia investigation became public this week, partisans across the political spectrum mined it to argue about whether President Trump falsely smeared the FBI or was its victim. But the report was also important for reasons that had nothing to do with Mr. Trump. At more than 400 pages, the study amounted to the most searching look ever at the government's secretive system for carrying out national security surveillance on American soil. And what the report showed was not pretty. While clearing the FBI of acting out of political bias, the Justice Department's independent Inspector General, Michael E. Horowitz, and his team uncovered a staggeringly dysfunctional and error-ridden process in how the FBI went about obtaining and renewing court permission under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, to wiretap Carter Page, a former Trump campaign advisor. The litany of problems with the Carter Page surveillance applications demonstrates how the secrecy shrouding the government's one-sided FISA approval process breeds abuse, said Hina Shamsi, director of the American Civil Liberties Union's National Security Project. The concerns the Inspector General identifies apply to intrusive investigations of others, including especially Muslims, and far better safeguards against abuse are necessary. Unquote. Huh? What? You know, I've come never to expect intelligence from the ACLU, the American Criminals Liberty Union. But to conflate the put-up job, the sham that the FBI concocted against Donald Trump, with the way it surveils Muslims, just rings as hollow as can be. America needs much more surveillance of Muslims in this country. And the fact that Michael Horowitz, who was appointed by Barack Obama, said there was no political bias means absolutely nothing to me. All those mistakes, all those errors, all those miscues by the FBI, they didn't happen by accident. They happened specifically. I was listening to one of my colleagues on the radio earlier today, Rush Limbaugh, saying stupidity doesn't happen like a shotgun blast. It doesn't go all over the place in any direction. Stupidity is very specific. When you have something happening like a shotgun blast, you get stupidity, you get intelligence. Here we just got stupidity, which means it was intentional, like a marksman taking aim. The FBI screwed up so much because they never figured they would get caught, and because they had to do stupid things in order to break the rules, to get around the rules. That's why they screwed up so much. Michael Horowitz has disgraced himself and tarnished his reputation, perhaps irreparably, as has the FBI, which we now know is a political toilet. By the way, all the people that the FBI has arrested and taken to trial in the last who knows how many years, well, they now have a pretty good reason to ask for an appeal, right? Look how screwy the FBI is. Look how undependable the FBI is, unprofessional, so maybe they made a mistake in my case too, they will say. And they'll be right. If the FBI just does a job that is this slipshod, who knows how many innocent people they've corralled. Everyone is waiting for this guy Durham to come out with his report, which Mr. Barr, Bob Barr, the Attorney General, has seen and apparently approves of. I trust William Barr, and based on what I'm hearing, I trust Mr. Durham, but the proof is in the pudding. So we need to see. In the meantime, the swamp has won a victory with this IG report. And the ACLU is pathetically trying to win a victory for Muslims in this country. By the way, anybody ever hear of some shootings on military bases? Yeah, who was doing that? The Amish? No. Those were Muslims. And so naturally, the American Criminals Liberty Union is out fighting on behalf of Muslims. That makes me sick. By the way, speaking of things that make me sick, item from the Associated Press. The New York Yankees landed the biggest prize of the free agent market, adding Gerrit Cole to their rotation with a record $324 million 9-year contract on Tuesday night, a person familiar with the deal told the Associated Press. Cole's deal established marks for pitchers in total dollars, topping the $245 million 7-year contract Steven Strasburg finalized a day earlier to remain with the World Series champion Washington Nationals. Unquote. What an indictment of Americans. Yeah, Americans. Why do you think these athletes are being paid hundreds of millions of dollars? Well, you don't have to think about it because I'll tell you. Because Americans, many Americans, tens of millions of Americans are children. They want to be amused. That's all. Are they reading books? No. Do they know what the issues of the day are? No. Are they familiar with the political parties? No. Are they familiar with political candidates? No. Do they know the truth about the scam called man-made global warming? No. Well, what do they know? Well, they know baseball and football and basketball and hockey and soccer and on and on and on. Americans are the most childlike, coddled, amused generation in human history. That's why athletes like Gerrit Cole, who should be earning a living, I don't want to see him on food stamps, $324 million because he can make a lot more money than that because so many Americans are brain dead and like to sit and watch a ball game. America, wake the hell up. This country's in trouble, despite all the good that Donald Trump is doing. You need to take your minds off of sports. Here's a novel idea. How about spending your time meaningfully with your children? Yes, with your children. It's Wednesday, and it's Real Truth. We'll be right back.